Paris is one of the most famous cities in the world. It's beautiful, but because it sees so many tourists, it also has a lot of pickpockets and scams. We're Naick and Kim, we've been to Paris 8 times, and in this video I'm gonna walk you through 13 common Paris scams so you can spot them before they happen to you. First up, the string scam. This is one of the most common scams in Paris. I actually ran into one of these guys on Montmartre.
Excuse me? That's tradition, and you have to put your small finger. Just 1 minute, okay?
You're free? No.
You have to believe me. You're from Germany?
No, Belgium.
So you can see he puts this string around my finger, starts making small talk as he weaves it into a bracelet. But then he tries to put it onto my wrist, and that's the trick. Once it's on, he's gonna start demanding money. And if you say no, they can get pretty pushy. People fall for this because it feels kind of rude to just walk away, but don't overthink it. Just say non merci and keep moving. Next up, pickpockets. There are lots of pickpockets hanging around busy spots like the Eiffel Tower, the queues outside the Louvre, and especially the metro. They usually work in groups. One person spots the target, the other distracts them by bumping into you or by asking for directions, and then the third one makes the grab. The good news is that pickpockets are not looking for a challenge. They just want an easy target. If you look like you're alert and like you've made an effort to secure your stuff, they're not gonna bother. Never keep valuables in your back pocket. Use a zip bag and keep it in front of your body, or if you're a guy, do what Naick does, skip the wallet and split your cash and your credit cards between your front pockets so there's nothing to grab onto. In crowds or on the metro, just keep a casual hand on your belongings. And if someone gets too close to you or they're hiding their hands underneath a sweater or a big touristy map of the city, that's a red flag, so just move away from them. You don't have to be paranoid, just be aware. We've been to Paris 8 times and we've never had anything stolen. It's very likely that you won't either, especially with these tips. Moving on to fake tickets. This one is pretty sneaky. You're standing outside a big tourist attraction and someone walks up to you offering a skip the line ticket. They might look pretty official with like a little badge and they'll just say, well, someone canceled last minute, so I'm trying to resell this ticket. The truth though is that these tickets are usually fake, or they've already been used, or they are way overpriced. One of our viewers got scammed this way right outside the Louvre Museum. Now, to be clear, most Parisians are perfectly nice people that are not trying to scam you, but there are some bad apples hanging around the main attractions. Just stick to legit platforms and you'll be totally fine. So that means only booking tickets through official websites or trusted platforms like Get Your Guide, which is where we buy most of our tours and skip the line tickets. I'll put a few links for the stuff that we bought in Paris in the description box down below in case you want to check them out. Next up, the gold ring scam. This is especially common along the Seine River and the Notre Dame area. Someone stops you on the street and says, "Oh my god, excuse me, I think you just dropped this, it's a gold ring." Spoiler alert, it's not gold and it's not yours. But even when you tell them, they're gonna insist you take it as a kind of gift. And then once you've got it in your hands, they'll be like, "You want to give me a few euros as a tip?" Now this is like kind of annoying, but also pretty easy to avoid if you just ignore them and keep walking. This next one, on the other hand, plays into something we've all been taught to do, which is to trust people in positions of authority. The fake police officer scam. This usually starts with a plainclothes officer flashing a badge and saying they need to check your ID, then your wallet, sometimes even your cash. They'll claim it's for counterfeit money or a security check. It is a little bit more rare for this to happen, but it does definitely happen. If it happens to you, do not panic. Ask to see their official police ID, or you can suggest just going to the nearest police station together. If they're real police, they will understand. And if they're scammers, they're gonna back off real fast. Just remember this advice and you're gonna be fine. Next up, taxi scams. Of all the scams on this list, this is one of the ones you're actually most likely to encounter because they're surprisingly common in Paris, just like in any big city, and you might actually want to take a taxi at some point. So here are the 3 biggest things you should look out for. First, the fake taxis. These hang around hotspots like the Gare du Nord or the Eiffel Tower. They'll offer you a flat rate, but it's often 2 to 3 times the normal fare. Some even have a meter, but then they'll take you on long pointless detours just to jack up the price. Second, those tuk-tuks that you see lining up near the Eiffel Tower, they look so fun. They have laminated cards with the prices right out front, and they'll quote you something that actually sounds fair. But then once you get to your destination, they're gonna point to the fine print that says, oh, that was actually the price per person, or they will have swapped out the price menu with a menu that has higher prices. That kind of sucks. Speaking of swapping, third, the cash swap scam. This one is happening in a lot of places in Europe these days. One of our viewers actually wanted to pay for a 20 euro ride with a 50 euro note. But once he handed over the 50 euro note to the driver, he swapped it out for a 10 euro note and said, oh, sorry, sir, you gave me the wrong bill. Please pay a little bit more. So how do you avoid all this? Well, it's really simple. Only use Uber or official G7 taxis. These are perfectly safe, perfectly legit, and often a lot cheaper. One of the best weapons you have to fight scams is this right here. In Paris, every day we were Googling prices, checking restaurant reviews online, or ordering Ubers. The only problem is, if you're traveling overseas, roaming charges can be insanely high. The last trip we did overseas on our normal phone plan, we ended up with a phone bill of 271 euros. That pissed me off just a little bit, but we looked for a solution and we ended up buying an eSIM. In the past, if you wanted cheap internet abroad, you had to wait until you landed and then you had to buy a physical SIM card. But these days, all you have to do is download an app onto your phone and that gives you internet access. Now, we've used a few different eSIMs and some of them weren't very reliable, which is why we now use Airalo. Airalo is the biggest eSIM provider in the world. They have more than 20 million users. They sell packages in over 200 countries and regions, and it works perfectly every time. So we've partnered up with them to give you a discount code. So you download the Airalo app from the App Store. It's free. And then we're gonna select the country we're going to. Look at these prices for mobile data packages. 5 gigabytes for 9 euros. Can you imagine how much they overcharged me for that roaming bill? By now. Then we're gonna fill out our details here. And then here you can enter our discount code Naick3, which gives you $3 off on your first eSIM. So we now bought our eSIM. Now all we have to do is install it. And we're gonna press View Instructions. Press Install eSIM. This can take like a minute. And then this is the final step. And now obviously we want to use our eSIM for mobile data. So we're going to click. That's it, we're all done. Download Airalo now and use our code Naick3 to get $3 off your very first eSIM. We'll put the links in the description box down below or scan the QR code right here on the screen. Now, next up on our list of Paris scams, we have cafe or restaurant scams. Of course, eating out in Paris is half the experience. The food, the vibe, generally it's incredible. But some places do have sneaky tricks that you need to be aware of. Always double check your bill. Some viewers told us they were charged for things they never ordered, like an entire bottle of wine when all you had was one glass. Also, some tourist trap restaurants will trick travelers who don't speak French very well into hidden upsells. You'll ask for a cappuccino and they'll bring you a large cappuccino, which just happens to cost 50% more. Or you ask for a glass of wine and they'll bring you the most expensive option on the entire menu. And then there's the water. If you just say water, they might bring you a bottle that costs 10 euros. But by law in France, tap water is free. So instead you want to just ask for une carafe d'eau. Most Paris restaurants are good and honest people, and sometimes stuff like this can happen and it's just an honest mistake. But to avoid the bad ones, we always check reviews on Google Maps before sitting down. Just one more reason why having mobile data in Paris literally pays for itself. Next up is the bag snatch. This is one we only heard about during our last visit to Paris. You're sitting at a Paris cafe enjoying a coffee and suddenly someone collapses nearby, or rather they pretend to faint. And of course everyone is rushing over, but while the attention is on that, they have an accomplice who is quietly grabbing a couple bags and purses off the back of people's chairs. To be fair, we have spent countless hours on the terraces of Paris cafes. We've never had anything stolen. I'm telling you this kind of stuff not to worry you. If you know about it and you take a few small precautions, you're gonna be totally fine. I always keep my purse in my lap. When I do want to put it on the ground, I loop the strap through my leg, and we never leave our phones out on the table. Moving on to the cup and ball game. You'll see this one on bridges and sidewalks, especially near the Sacré-Cœur Cathedral on Montmartre. It looks like a simple little street game. There's a guy shuffling a small ball underneath 3 cups, and the game is to guess under which cup the ball is. Usually there's people around you who are playing, winning, laughing. It feels very real, but it's actually not. They usually work with the scammer. Their job is to make the game look easy and totally legit until you join in, because if you do join in, you're not gonna figure out where the little ball is, and you're gonna lose whatever money you bet on it. This happens in many cities around the world. Just don't play the game. Next up, fake petitions. Don't stop to sign a petition near a major tourist site. They're gonna tell you it's for a good cause, like helping the deaf or supporting children. It's gonna feel like the right thing to do, but then after you sign, they're gonna point to the fine print that says, oh, you just agreed to donate 20 euros to our cause. Now, obviously not every petition is a scam. Most of them are probably gonna be legit, but how can you really tell the difference? The locals just don't stop. They don't engage with this kind of stuff. Next up, we have metro ticket helpers. The Paris Metro is one of the easiest ways to get around. We absolutely love taking it, but you do need to be a little bit careful when someone offers to help you buy your tickets at the machine. In busy stations like Gare du Nord or Châtelet, that helpful stranger will often help you push the buttons on the machine, but then when you get your ticket, they'll ask you for a tip. Or they take the ticket the machine gave you and then quickly swap it out for one that's already expired. Again, this is easy to avoid. These machines have an English option, the menus are really easy, you don't need anyone's help. And if you do, go and ask someone who's sitting in one of the official booths behind glass. Then ATM and Euronet ripoffs. Do not use the first ATM you see, especially if it's one of those blue Euronet machines. They're everywhere in the touristy parts of Paris, but they often charge really high fees or give you terrible exchange rates. Not exactly a scam, but most definitely a ripoff. I saw a recent example of an American guy who was taking out 250 euros from one of those machines, and it ended up costing him $50 more than it should have. So just use real ATMs from French banks instead. Next up, street vendors. In Paris, you're gonna see street vendors sell selfie sticks, souvenirs, and love locks outside every major tourist site. Most of these guys are totally harmless, they're just hustling to make some money, but overall the quality of their goods is pretty bad, and sometimes they can be a little bit pushy. You wanna avoid the love locks in particular, because these days it's actually illegal in Paris to do that thing where you buy a lock, lock it onto a bridge with the love of your life, and then you throw the key in the Seine River. A few times a year, the authorities actually cut all of the locks off the bridges, and then some sellers go and collect the old locks, clean them up a little bit, and resell them to the next tourist. Skip the love locks, just get yourself another croissant instead. With everything you've learned, you don't need to worry. You're going to love Paris. But if you want to make the most of your stay, what do you do when it comes to tipping? What behaviors might offend the locals? Go and watch this video on the don'ts of traveling Paris. It'll make your trip even better.